loves, it's Lacey and welcome to our space. So today I am finally back and I am going to start off this season with a decor piece that is going to go outside in front of my gazebo. It's going to be a light up fixture and I'm going to be doing it with these two thrifted items. Starting with this plant stand. It is wicker and the legs remind me of mid-century modern. It has these little pads on it, I think, that were added after to ensure that it didn't scrape any surface, and I like the fact that it's see-through and the wicker is really nice and in perfect condition. I got this at St. Vincent de Paul thrift store and they date their pieces, so this is from 2021 and I had nothing to do with it before then. It says $5.99 but I only paid $3 for it. I am going to be spray painting the entire thing with Rust-Oleum's 2 times the paint and primer in a ultra matte black. So I'm going to take that outside and do that. And then I have this shallow kind of bowl. It is super heavy. It has this lip around in the edge. And I got this at Habitat for Humanity Restore. And so we're going to be using that as well. And then this would-be thrifted item is actually a light globe from my house. I was going to take it to the thrift store and donate it. And then I realized I could use it for this project. It is a crackled glass globe, and so it was free to me, but I've seen one similar at the thrift store for about $5. Then I have some bags of white rocks from the Dollar Tree. I have 2 of those. I put down some sand, but I don't end up using it, and I have this small like dessert plate from there. Also some fairy lights that have 50 lights on a strand. These came from Big Lots and they are remote control, and a whole bunch of succulents. Most of them are from Dollar Tree, but these string of pearls came from at home stores on clearance a long time ago. And then I have some on a pick and some that are on these little clips, and we're going to be using them. So as you can see, this is all spray painted matte black. I didn't show you because it was very windy and kind of sprinkling when I did this, but we're going to set that inside because we're going to use that last. We're going to start with the glass bowl. I'm going to take this plate and turn it upside down. You won't see the other side of it at all. And I'm going to turn on my fairy lights. These are cool white ones. You can use warm ones or whatever. And I'm going to put the battery pack underneath the plate. And since I have a remote for the fairy lights, the underneath of the plate is clear and you can see through the bottom of the plant stand, so it'll work perfectly fine. Now, if you don't have a remote, put the battery pack on top of your plate. The plate is here to lift up my globe, so it would sit higher in this little shallow bowl. Then I'm going to take my succulents and we are going to put them in here, but before we stick them in, we are taking them out of these little plants holders, pots, and they are filled with a whole bunch of styrofoam that's painted black on the top. So I'm going to pop a lot of these out. Some of them are bigger and some of them are smaller. I'm going to use mostly the smaller ones, and I'm just taking some scissors and loosening the glue, and if they tear or whatever, that's fine. This one tore some. You'll never see it. I'm going to glue them down onto the plate in this bowl. Now, if you get a little glue on the bowl, it doesn't matter. If you glue the plate down to the bowl some, it's just hot glue. You can easily pry it off later. But I'm using these to be able to stick the picks into, and I'm going to glue them into the styrofoam too, in order to hold it all together, because this will be outside in the weather, and I live in Michigan. It rains and it gets really windy here. Now here I'm showing you, you could have just used them in the pot. However, I didn't have all my pots the same color. I had that funky colored one too. So I chose to take the styrofoam out. You can use floral foam and regular styrofoam too. But I want to leave gaps in between so that some of the bigger succulents can go between and then the smaller ones can get stuck into the styrofoam. As you can see, I didn't do it all the way around. So next, we are putting in 2 bags of the white rocks. This is purely to cover up the styrofoam and to make it look a little decorative all the way around the edge. Now you should put the rocks in first before you settle on your succulents, because they are very hard to get in there after you have the succulents stuck down in there. I did have to remove some of them because I decided then I was going to use solar lights, because there are solar lights at Amazon that you can put in here, fairy lights too. I don't know the price of those and I haven't put them in yet, but I removed my battery pack from under there after I filmed this. So now I'm just testing where I want my succulents to go. And I know this is kind of a weird angle, but I found this the best angle to show you guys. This is such a simple DIY. Now all of this is personal preference. I just did it for my aesthetic. I knew that I was going to have a front and a back to this, and I'm just putting the succulents in where I like them to go. I'm gluing them to the styrofoam and not to the rocks. Any place that I need one that's going to sit simply into the rocks, I move some of the rocks over and glue the stems down, like I'm doing here, to the plate, and then I push the rocks back on top to cover it up. That way it stays glued down if it's windy or anything outside, but most of them have like a stem that I stick down into the styrofoam. And if you can see right here, I had another red one and I just turn it around so no two succulents that are the same end up in the same spot, and I space them out just whatever way I want. It's personal preference. I'm using my Ryobi leverage pliers to cut the wires because some of them have thicker wires and stuff, and I'm just making sure that I can get it all placed in together. Now here, as you can see, I took some of the rocks out and I put in some more styrofoam because this little succulent that I absolutely love the color of is on a clip and I needed to make it higher. But here you go. This is how it turned out. I didn't show you every little succulent I put in here because it is personal preference on how you want it to look. You can do this whole project with real succulents. Put the rocks down for drainage and then cover them with dirt and then plant real succulents. For that, I would definitely use solar lights and just have the cord come out the back and stick it down in the ground or on whatever table or whatever you sit this next to outside, and then it would light up automatically and you wouldn't have to use a remote. I love how the string of pearl plants come down the edge, and yes, both of them are in the front of this because I know this is going to be sitting up against a pillar outside or another planter, and so I made it have kind of a front and a back. You can put more fairy lights in it. I like the fairy lights because it crackles, and if you can see them on my wall behind there, it makes a really pretty pattern. You could do a puck light or any other kind of lighting. You could put a candle that is one of the flickering candles that's not a real candle in there as well with the remote control. I think this project turned out really, really well. I love the finial on the top of that, and it didn't cost that much. It cost me $28.74 altogether because the succulents were $1 a piece. But like I said, if you do real ones or if you have them cheaper, it wouldn't cost as much. I did not have a price for the globe, but like I said, about $5 I've seen them in thrift stores. But you can buy this for that price, and I think it's going to be really dramatic out by my gazebo. And here it is at night in the dark. I love how it reflects on the wall, and I think it's be really beautiful against the curtains outside of my gazebo. Yes, I am inside my house because it is raining outside and I could not film it for you then. But I am doing a whole series on decorating outside of my gazebo. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you want to make sure you're notified when the next video in that series comes out. But that is it for this video, and I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye, loves.